Hey everyone, how's it growing? Today I wanted to talk to you guys about horse barns. All right, some common questions that are around are, I want to bring a horse home. How do I go about that? So I'm going to talk to you about how my wife and I got a barn in our own backyard. All right. So first thing is you don't have to like buy an actual barn like we did to bring your horse home in your backyard. Um, you could convert a shed into a stall. If your house has a shed and you're not really using it, you could make sure that your door is big enough for your horse and that your shed is big enough to be a stall so the horse doesn't get cast in their stall or anything. And you could do that, like use what you got, right? Um, so you could even make a quick little stall for your horse. You get like some sheets of plywood and some 4x4s, and you can just make like a rough little stall that's like big enough for the horse, and it's just to keep them out of the weather. You could do something like that to save you some money. Um, but what we ended up doing was we actually purchased a barn from a company in Pennsylvania called Sunset Barns, and they build the barn in Pennsylvania, and then they bring it here on a big truck, and they take it off the truck with this like forklift thing, and it puts um, little wheels on the other end of the barn, and then the opposite end is where the little forklift thingy picks up the barn, and then it pulls it and it maneuvers it into place. So they can get into really tight spots because of this system they have. It's really cool. Um, and basically, they'll just put it in place. So what you have to do is you have to check with your local building codes and find out what you need to do for the size barn you're going to do. In Where I live, if you're building a building that's under 200 square feet, you don't need to pull a permit or anything. So if you were to like build your own stall, you probably wouldn't need to worry about anything. You could just build it, and the town's not going to care, at least in my area. For our barn, we had to put in footings. So we had a company come in and they leveled out the land, and they put in big concrete footings for the barn to sit on. And then we put stone dust down for a base on the ground. And then we put the barn on top of that. And then we bolted the barn down to the concrete footings. But if you guys can take a look in here, you see that there's all these beams here, right? And like right here, that's like just a big beam. So that's how these barns are that come on the trucks. So it's not like a normal construction building. It's basically like a bunch of beams for the frame, and then they kind of like cover it with boards. So you can see like normal houses, the studs are 16 on center, but in these barns they're not, but they use much thicker beams. So you can see that there's not a lot of studs here. They do that to save weight, and so that they can like get it down the road easier. But that's basically all these buildings are. It's just some rough framing, and then they just put boards up. So what we did was I added some electrical in. I just put in some conduit and ran some wires. Once we got the barn up, and so for electrical in your barn, you're gonna want to have lights and stuff. You could just run extension cords, but extension cords are not made to be permanent, so they're going to get beaten up, and they're going to get holes in them, and they're going to corrode inside because the water's going to get in, and then it's going to ruin the wire. So what I did was I ran conduit, and then I ran I think I ran 14 2 wire in there, stranded wire. Um, So then I can run my outlets there. And then we just had an electrician run a trench from our house to the barn, and then they ran the wires, and then I connected them from there to the barn to save us a little bit of money. So we just have these um, little LED light bars there, um, and they work pretty well. So that's it. So our barn has two stalls. So we have this stall and we have that stall. That's where Destiny stays right now. Um, and then we have this aisle that we can do things with. So you have this nice big aisle, and it's kind of messy right now, but let's just give you guys a quick look. So, pardon the mess, but it is a barn. So we have this big long aisle, and then the barn doesn't come with this outer wall, but we built that extra. My father-in-law helped build that. So normally you just have this big beam and the roof, and then these beams, and then this would all be open. But we added that wall there just to give us some shelter in the winter. And then we added these sliding barn doors. My father-in-law built those. He is very handy and he helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it. So if you want to get in touch with Sunset Barns, here is the information. So I will add that information in the description. And then I'm not going to show you a picture of the tack room, but I'm standing in it, so take my word for it because it's really messy in here, so I don't want to show that. But so we have a tack room in here. So the tack room is, I think it's 8 by, is it 8 by 8? No, it's 8 by 10. The tack room's 8 by 10, and then the two stalls are 12 by 10, right? So so they're pretty big stalls. We could have gotten them smaller, but we wanted the bigger stalls just to give the horses extra room. So we have that. So that's our barn. And then the only other thing that you might want to take into consideration is birds and rodents. Okay, so when we first got the barn, right, we had barn swallows coming in and trying to build a nest. So what I did, if you can see up there, I got some hardware cloth and I just kind of like stuck it up in the rafters so that it blocks where the birds could make a nest. And then on the top of the lights, I just kind of got some netting and I just kind of like stapled it there so that they don't sit on top of the lights because we didn't want like bird poop everywhere in here. And then as far as like rodents on the ground, good luck with that. We haven't found a good way to keep them out. But if you guys have any suggestions, leave a comment below on how you keep rodents out of your barn. We considered getting a barn cat, but a lot of people are on the fence about whether that's ethical or not, and we haven't done it yet because we're still like, well, what do you do in the winter? How do you make sure the cat stays healthy and this and that? And plus, I'm allergic to cats, so we haven't gone that route. We did consider it, but we haven't done it yet. So let us know what you guys do to keep rodents out of your barn, and I will catch you guys in the next time, and stay growing.